welcome to our lesson on factoring trinomials. A trinomial is something that looks like this: x squared plus bx plus c. And I'm going to factor it using a method that I call the x factor. Let's see. On top is whatever we have in C, and the bottom is whatever we see in B, and on the side is going to be the factors. So let's have a look at how that works. Okay, I'm going to draw my x factor here, and the b is 8, so that goes on top, and that's 6. So I got to find something that multiplies to the 8 and adds to 6. So let's see what multiplies to 8. 8 times 1, 4 times 2. Let's see, 4 times 2 adds to 6, so they would be my factors. Let's see, 4 times 2. They multiply to 8 and they add to 6. 4, 2. So they multiply to 8 and they add to 2. They are my factors. So this, I write them down: x plus 4 and x plus 2. And there's my factorization of x squared plus 6x plus 8. Let's look at the next one. X factor, the 15 goes on top, the 8 goes on bottom, so that's the multiply and that's the add. So first let's start listing the stuff that multiplies to 15. Well, that's 1 times 15, 3 times 5. Oh, wait, 3 times 5 adds to 8. So it appears like we found a factor. 3 times 5, multiply to 15 and add to 8. So x plus 3 and x plus 5 are my factors. Great. So my x factor again here, so the 6 would go on top and the 5 would go on bottom. What multiplies to 6 and adds to 5? Well, let's start thinking about what multiplies to 6. Let's see, 6, that's 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Oh, 2 times 3 adds to 5, so we have our factors. So 2 times 3. Multiply to 6 and add to 5. So x plus 2 and x plus 3 are my factors. Great. Let's look at some harder ones that involve negative signs, but we do the same thing. So this would be 9 on top and negative 6 on bottom. So now we've got to think about things that multiply to 9 and some add to negative 6. So let's think about the things that multiply to 9. Let's see, 1 times 9, that doesn't add to negative 6. 3 times 3 doesn't add to negative 6, it adds to positive 6. So negative 1 times negative 9, no. Negative 3 times negative 3. Oh wait, they add to negative 6. So there we go, negative 3, negative 3. So the factors are x minus 3 and x minus 3. Or you can write that as x minus 3 squared. Great. Okay, we have 18 on top here and negative 11 on bottom. So what multiplies to 18 and adds to negative 11? So let's think about it. 1 times 18? No. Negative 1 times negative 18? No, that adds to negative 19. Let's see. What else multiplies to 18? 2 times 9, that adds to positive 11, and negative 2 times 9. Oh, negative 2 times negative 9 would add to negative 11 and add to positive 18. So x is x minus 2 and x minus 9 is the factorization. Great. Okay, let's look at the next one. So I have 15 and negative 8. So what multiplies to 15? So that would be, let's see, 1 times 15, negative 1 times negative 15. Let's see, it has to add to negative 8. That doesn't work. Let's see, oh wait, I wrote that wrong. That's supposed to be negative 8. 3 times 5 and negative 3 times negative 5. Oh, that adds to negative 8. Negative 3, negative 5. And there are my factors. X minus 3 and x minus 5. Great. Okay, let's look at some where we have the negative in a different place. So let's still do it the same way. I do my x factor. Let's see, that would be negative 35 on top and positive 2 on bottom. So let's start think about what multiplies to negative 35. Let's see, that would be a positive and a negative, so positive 1 and negative 35. Well, that's not going to certainly add to 2. So let's try negative 1 and 35. Well, of course, that's not going to add to 2 either. So let's see. Negative 2. Wait, I meant negative 5 times 7. Let's see. Negative 7 times positive 5. Which of those adds to negative 2? Oh, it's negative 7, positive 5. Actually, I'm sorry. It's negative 5, positive 7. Great. So my factors here are x minus 5 and x plus 7. Great. X factor here, so I've got negative 14 on top and 5 on bottom. Let's see what adds to negative 14, multiplies negative 14, so and adds to positive 5. So negative 1 times 14, that's not going to add to positive 5. 1 times negative 14, no, definitely not. Let's think about this. What else multiplies to negative 14? Negative 2 times 7. And let's see, 2 times negative 7. Let's see which of those adds to positive 5. It's going to be negative 2 and 7. Great, there's my factors. X minus 2 and x plus 7. Great. My x factor here, so I have negative 28 on top and positive 3. So let's start listing the stuff that multiplies to negative 28. Let's see. 1 times negative 28, that's certainly not going to add to 3. Negative 1 times 28, no. Let's start thinking. What else multiplies? 2 times negative 14. No, that's not going to add to 3. Negative 2 times, no. What else multiplies to negative 28? Let's see. Well, we did 2. Well, 3 doesn't. Let's try 4. 4 times negative 7. That adds to negative 3, so it's going to be negative 4 times 7. So that is my factor, negative 4 times 7. Negative 4 times 7. And there's my factor, x minus 4 and x plus 7. Great. Now let's solve some equations by factoring. So here I have an equation. I draw my x factor, but I got to think about this. There is a rule called the zero product property that tells me I can make the factors equal to 0 to solve. And solve them, and that will give me the solution of the equation. Okay, time for a little movie magic. I did this one incorrectly. I'm going to do the others and let you see if you can see where I made a mistake. Common mistake that people make when they do these problems. You have to remember your rules of integers. Okay, let's look at number 2 and then you can see what I did wrong on number 1. Let's see, that would be 8 and 6. So let's say what multiplies to 8? 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. It has to add to 6, so that would be 2 times 4. So the factors are x plus 2 and x plus 4. I can make that equal to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0 and x plus 4 equals 0. And I can solve for x. Subtract 2 here from both sides. Subtract 4 here from both sides. So let's see. Here I have x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 4. Great. Let's look at number 3. Do you see what I did wrong on number 1 yet? So I have 81 and negative 18. Let's see what makes 81. Well, that would be 1 times 81. Now that's certainly not going to add up to negative 18. Let's see. Negative 1 times negative 81. No, that's still not going to add up to negative 18. So let's think about this. It would be 9 times 9. That's positive 18. So negative 9 times negative 9 multiplies 81, positive 81, and adds to negative 18. So let's write down these factors. X minus 9, x minus 9 squared equals 0. Well, since they're the same, I only need to solve for one of them. Add 9 to both sides, and x equals 9. Great. Did you see what mistake I made in number 1? The mistake I made was I chose the wrong factors. I should have chosen positive 2 and negative 8. So the solution would have been x is negative 2 and x is positive 8. Did you see it? Great. Thank you for joining us for a lesson on factoring trinomials. Now go get your homework done.